So your week went well though? You had a good week?
Better. Yeah, better week. It
Okay.
was a little rough at the start, but it's good now.
All right. That's what's up. That's what's up. All right. Let me see here. I want to. Actually, what I want to actually, you know what? Let me hear a little bit about your background, because did you study graphic arts, or what did you?
No, sir, I did not study political science. I'm self-taught in everything that I've done or produced.
Oh wow! Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay. So it looks like you just have a good eye for design, for balance, and all that. Okay, but self-taught. Excellent. All right. And what would you consider the best way you learned? Like, how did you self-teach yourself? Like, you just
I did a lot of
books.
Online research and books. Some of the same principles that you discussed in the last lesson were some of the things that I came across and studied and played around with. And when I mastered it, I kind of started teaching it, or went through like a training for some of the people in my organization, so that they can make sure, basically get a refresher, and then understand some of the language that I would use when I'm providing feedback on some of the design work that they produce.
Okay. All right, cool. So so that in essence is what we tend to deal with, is having a similar language so that we can communicate to other people about design, and that way they know, or everybody's on the same page about what it is that we're looking at and how to talk about it, how to communicate that information.
Got it.
So let me do a share screen. So what I want to talk about first is color theory. And is that showing up? Okay. All right. So the reason I'm probably not going to go as extensive as we could, but I want to give a general overview so we can get some of these, so we can get, hey Shay, so we can get some terms together. Shay, can you see the screen?
Color.
Okay, good. All right. And so I want to start with this, and then if you have questions, of course, ask those, and so we can get more in depth in all that. All right. So in terms of color theory, what we're talking about here is understanding color and how it affects, or how it affects a design or something that is created, because everything is you're going to deal with color in some way, shape, or form, and understanding how to create it or how to use it so that it serves its purpose, it serves the goal that you intended, and creates a harmony within the different types of colors that you can use. That's the general idea for color theory. And again, this is stuff that's already out there, but in terms of us talking about it so that we can have some deeper understanding, or some things that might, that we might have picked up that we want to get better understanding from now. And the first thing I'd like to talk about is the chemical and the physiological dynamics of color in terms of how we see color to begin with. So we are going to have light that goes into our eye through the pupil and hits this back of the eye where you have your retina, and all the cones and rods, which is over here on this far right side. These cones and rods are triggered to receive red, green, and blue light. Right, and that's why you see it on. That's why you see it. Do you remember if you looked at your old school TV, right, and you looked up real close to it, and you just saw these red, yellow. Red, green, and blue dots. Well, those are the dots that, when, however they are combined, will give us all the rest of our colors. So, in terms of light, those three colors are our primary colors. And when we're looking at light, we're looking at it in terms of a wavelength of energy that is hitting our eye directly. Okay, so that's going to be how we're going to view light, a wavelength of energy that hits our eye directly, and we're going to see in those primaries of the red, green, and blue. Now, for pigment is light that is bounced off a object and hits our eye. So when we're looking at any kind of when we look at anything physical, a physical object, the color that we see is color that has a light source that hits that object and bounces the light bounces off of that object and hits our eye in a certain color. And what'll happen is, because colors, if you've ever seen that prism where white light goes in and it refracts to all the rainbow colors. So what'll happen is a light will hit an object, and whatever the color is that's in the object, it absorbs all those colors in the light and bounces the color that's not in that object. So something that's red, if you're looking at a red piece of cloth, all the different colors are going to hit that red piece of cloth, but the red piece of cloth is going to absorb the blue and the green and yellow and bounce back only red, and that's how you're going to see the red, right? And we probably already knew all of that, so that's just a refresher. All right. Let's do this. Can everybody see this? It's the two color wheels. All right, so the top right one is the color chart or color wheel for pigment, and that's when something is bouncing off of an object. And these are going to be the primaries, the red, yellow, and blue. And you mix the yellow and blue, get the green, mix the red and the yellow, get the orange, and mix the red and the blue, get the purple or the violet. For light, it's red, blue, and green. And when you mix red light with green light, you get yellow light. Mixing blue light with red light, you get magenta. And mixing blue light with green light, you'll get cyan. And it's a really fun thing to do, to play around with, because this is how you can cast a shadow that's yellow. If you're playing around with the light, it's a lot easier to see it when I do it with my students, and I'll have the theater stage lights, and I'll put a red gel in one light and a green gel in another light, or green filter, and shine those, and you can get a yellow light and cast yellow shadows, which is, the students always get a kick out of that. Okay, any questions on how that works? No? Okay. Oops. All right, so what I want to do now is go through these commandments, and they're really more of the color schemes of the color patterns are for different colors or for different combinations of colors. And actually, you know what? Before we even get to that, maybe you can talk to me about about the different colors themselves, because colors tend to give a lot of different meanings, and especially in different countries, you'll get different meanings for different colors. So, what would you consider? What kind of meaning do you get from the color red?
Alarming.
Passion.
Passion. Alarm.
Aggressiveness.
Ooh, aggressiveness. Okay, yeah.
Mm.
All right. What about orange?
Alert.
Okay. You know what's funny is that people tend to get stuck with orange.
Yeah.
Like
I got nothing.
what can you make that mean? What are some significant
Energy.
Say again?
Fruitful?
Say energy.
Yeah, energy is good. Right. Energy is good.
I don't know.
Okay. How about yellow?
Happy.
Joy. Yeah.
Joy. Yeah. Happiness, joy. Yeah. Yellow's one of those. Yellow is a funny color, especially when we start dealing with mixing it, because it is the brightest color in the color wheel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's the only color that you can't mix with black. Well, you can mix with black, but it ends up really nasty, right?
Yeah.
Right. So mixing yellow with black paint, it gets you a really nasty kind of like a greenish color, because and it's basically because the black paint usually is usually made with really dark blues, and so when you mix that with yellow, you'll mix it with you get a greenish color. And so yellow's a color that you can't do dark yellow, right? Right. You can do all the other colors in a dark version: dark red, dark green, dark blue, dark purple, but you can't do a dark yellow. All right. So what about green? Oh, hold on a second. Somebody's knocking on my door. Oh my gosh. Wow.
How are you?
Fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I was like, I hope it's open. And the door on the side is open.
The door on the side is open? Oh man.
Okay. How are you?
I'm doing really, really well.
It's good.
Yeah. You know what's weird though? It's kind of awkward because I'm actually in a class right now.
I'm sorry.
So,
nice seeing you.
But yeah. But you're gonna be in town for the weekend?
Yeah, I'm leaving tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Hit me up and.
Make sure. Your number. Make sure.
All right, you're looking good though.
Thank
All
you.
right, excellent. You're in Atlanta, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, that was weird because the school should be closed. You can't get into. You shouldn't be able to get into the building right now, and I guess that side door. Somebody must have propped the side door.
Wow.
But yeah, we have a whole bunch. It's homecoming weekend, so all the students are coming back and all of that. So that was one of my early 3 years ago now students. Okay, so what was I talking about? Oh, okay, yeah, green. Life, yep.
Yeah.
Wealth.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, there's a
Sleeping.
Youth, maybe.
Can you
youth.
hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Oh, okay.
It does sound a little muffled.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I gotta fix it.
Okay. And what about what do you what kind of feelings or emotions you come up with when you think of blue?
What
Trust.
color?
Trust. Okay. Blue.
Blue. Peaceful, tranquil.
Peaceful
Yeah.
and tranquil. Okay. All right.
Water.
Water. Yep. And what about purple?
Mm,
That one can also be you. Fun.
Okay.
Royalty.
Royalty is a big one. Yep.
well,
Purple is,
I wanted to say that, but it wasn't an emotion. I was thinking authority, royalty.
Yeah.
oh, okay. Yeah. No, I mean that's fine. That's fine. Okay, cool. So
Okay. Hopefully
the
that's better.
the color theory is dealing with how we mix, how we combine all of these different colors in a way that gives us a sense of harmony. And so the first one, the first one we deal with is monochromatic, and that's going to be dealing with using one color and adjusting the value, the hues, the tints, and the shades in terms of one color. And you've heard tint before, right? What's a tint?
It's when you mix in gray or
Tint is when you mix in white.
white. Yeah, white. That's what the tone is.
Okay.
Gray, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
So tone is gray, tint is white, and shade is
Black.
Okay. So when you want to tone something down, you're adding a little bit of gray to make it less bright. When you want to add some tint to something, you're going to add, make it a little bit brighter in a sense, and by adding white or making it more pastelish. And then to make something a little bit darker, you're adding some black, creating a shade to it. And so with monochromatic, you're dealing with one color and just whatever the design is, whatever it is that's being designed, everything is going to be based on that one hue. That's going to be whether it's red, green, or yellow. Or yellow is actually not a good one to do, but yellow you can do monochromatic with yellow, of course. And how much shift that you have between the different tints and shades. And so you see a bunch of examples here in number 7, which is the monochromatic one. And so there's some logos, the wheelchair, the cupcake. And so all of those are monochromatic because you're just playing around with the hue. Now, that's just picking one hue. Now, when you go to picking 2 hues, that is considered, when you're dealing with that, that's considered a complementary when you're going on the opposite side of the color wheel. So when you have a color wheel and you go directly across it, that is considered the complementary color. And so, let me see. So in that color chart on the top right, that's for the pigment. So the complement of green would be red. Complement of blue would be orange. Yep. Complement of yellow would be
Purple or violet.
Purple or violet, right? And okay, so that's really good when you want to create something with a high level of contrast, right? using opposite colors creates a really good high level of contrast. Now, here's the trick to that is that it can also be disruptive to the eye.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Complementary colors can also be disruptive to the eye. If you're looking at number 3, and that blue and the yellow one, that works out pretty well. But when you start going into that red and green, especially, please don't do this unless it's something really specific. A red background with green text, you might as well shoot somebody. Right? That's really not pleasant to the eye. And then this blue, or this, I mean, the blue and orange work really well. I like blue and orange. That's my color combination. That's what I usually wear. But this particular example of this blue and orange, that's just not pleasant. It's too, I see that. Okay, and see what's going to start to happen is because light is an energy, right? So because light is an energy and it's a wavelength, you're going to have the vibration of the light energy hitting your eye, and when you have complementary vibrations, that means you have one side on this side, another one on this side, and they start to vibrate. Your eye will pick up on that vibration, and it will start to, and it won't register in your eye in a pleasing way. You'll start to get a blurry double vision, and it can actually cause headaches. And this is the kind of thing that happens. Let's see. This is the kind of and now this is not complimentary, but this is the kind of thing that happens when you're wearing 3D glasses, because the vibrations disrupt a harmonious sense in the cones and rods that get hit in the back of your eye, and so it starts to vibrate, and it makes it gives off a unpleasant look, and you can actually I've gotten headaches from bad color combinations. All right, so Shay, you had a question?
Yes. Back to the hideous part, the colors, the red and the green.
Mm-hmm.
Could some of that be yes, thank you. Could some of that be like this right here? Could that be toned or changed, like take the green and add shades to it to make it darker? Because the way I see it right now, it's like both of them are fighting to dominate. It's like they're both dominant colors, so they're both fighting for your attention, and that's what's really irritating me about it.
Right.
But if it wasn't lime green, like we add some shades, some black to it, so we can tone it down, and let red have its eye-popping way,
right,
then and create the shade, would that be a better fit for that particular?
Yeah.
I mean, if the logo called for green, like that's their logo, and the background, that's the only color red, then we could use that to kind of offset that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. And one of the things that you want to play with is doing colors that have, or doing images that have that if you understand their value relationships, then you can start to play around with how dark or how much contrast something has, because it's not necessarily the color combination, it's the values in the color combination. So with this particular example here, that red and the green, they're dealing with the same values.
Right.
So it's the same amount of green chroma that's in the red, in the red. And so by adding more, by making that green a little bit lighter, a bit darker, and maybe taking the red and making the value of that a little bit lighter, so that they're not on the same level of contrast, that would definitely make that work out a lot better, because so that you have a contrast like that with the blue and the yellow, there you have a much better contrast in that situation, so that you're not fighting too much. Now I don't know why they did this, because that purple, that blue and the blue and yellow with the wheelchair, those aren't actually the complementary colors. So that yellow should be a little bit more orangey.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is meant to be a little orangey.
Yeah.
Because it's not like yellow next to it to the left of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, so it looks like
a sun-kissed
not
yellow.
as yellow. It's not as yellow as the stuff right next to it or that television at the bottom, but it's still, it could use a little bit more orange to show the example better.
Mm-hmm.
Or perhaps it's another one of those situations where it is the correct orange and blue, but again, they're dominant colors competing with each other, like Shay said. So
Right.
Orange more yellow. It brings out the yellow out of the orange more than the orange.
Right. Shay, you had another question?
No, I'm sorry. Let me take my hand down.
Okay. Actually, I can do it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So after we do one color monochromatic, two colors is complementary, and then the three colors. There's three different ways we can look at a three color combination. There is a analogous, there is the split complementary, which I like a lot, and then there is the triadic. So the analogous is that second one, and those are going to be three colors that are next to each other on a color wheel. So it's very hard to go wrong with that combination. These are really nice, a really nice combination. It's easy for people to like, because you'll be able to get two colors that are similar, and then you'll have one color that gives us that little bit of an extra pop to it. And so you'll have, you can do like a blue, a dark blue, but then right next to it on the other side is that green, and then you can do a dark blue, a purple, and then right next to that is like a violet. So those three colors, whatever three colors that are next to each other, they work out pretty well when you're doing something graphic. I like how that cupcake is looking. That's really dope to look at. And when you look at that particular image, what kind of feelings do you get from that yellow, that green, and that lime green color combination?
I get a lot of energy from it, for sure.
Okay.
I don't know. It feels lighthearted,
Light, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it feels light. There's a sense of there's a freshness to it, right? And so that would work really well with some certain food items, or
Right.
a logo that deals with food, because it's a very fresh color combination. All right, so the split complementary is three colors, and it's looking at a split, or I'm sorry, it's looking at the complementary. So you have one central color, and you go straight across the color wheel. But instead of using the one color that's straight across it, you used two other colors to the left and to the right. So that red, the complementary would be green, but instead of it being using the green, you have this like a greenish blue and a greenish yellow. And so then you get some other color combinations with that. These are, the examples here are pretty good. But again, with that particular color combination, you want to be careful to make sure that you're still getting the right, again, playing with these values, playing with the values is really what's going to be key to having a successful color combination, because how much chroma or how much intensity is in each of these colors can really set something off or not give us the sense of harmony that we're going to necessarily look for. Go ahead.
That's what I was going to say. I think that the point of what they were trying to make, they were more focused on the color as opposed to the value. Right,
exactly. So yeah, they were just doing, let's just put these images or these colors up. Okay, and then the third type of 3 color combination is the triadic, which is basically a triangle, and it's an equilateral triangle, and in essence, you're using the primaries or the secondary color combination. So whether it's the red, yellow, blue combination or purple, orange, green combination, or anything in between that, as you rotate the color wheel or rotate the triangle in the, am I in share mode? Okay, yeah. As you rotate the triangle in the color wheel, you'll get those 3 different colors, and you can play around with that so that you can get the message that you're trying to get across with that. I particularly like this yellow, the top one, that yellow background with the red, and then the this bluish color. That's a dope look right there. All right, so then we have using 4 color combinations, and there is a tetradic and this okay, stay with me, and then this double complementary. Now the double complementary is more of a rectangular shape. So you'll have those 4 different colors that are coming across as a rectangular shape. And I forgot I had this. Yeah. So those 4 different colors in a rectangular shape. And if you wanted to do the quadratic, which would be basically a square, you could put a square inside your color wheel, and wherever the square points, you get those 4 different colors. They don't have an example of that here, but those are the basic color schemes that we talk about. Then there's the black and white, which is really fun to use, because that way you're just focusing on values. And as you can see here, that wheelchair one is the wheelchair is very low in value, so you're not going to have a lot of contrast with that. And that's one thing that you can do with your images if you're dealing with color, you want to make sure your contrast is good. If you have the Photoshop, you can turn everything to black and white and see what level of contrast you have for your image. Shay, that your hand up?
Yep. Okay, so I tried to do a screenshot, but I really can't read any of the 1 through 9 steps. Can we have this in an email or
Yeah.
get a picture? Okay,
Okay.
awesome.
Yeah, I can send this to you.
Okay, awesome, because that is very, very helpful for me.
Yeah, I can send this to you.
Okay.
All right. Yes, Brian.
All right, so this might be where we get a bit theoretical,
Yeah.
and perhaps where we start to connect the spirit into creativity. But thank you, by the way, for the expansion on the tetradic colors, because I think my knowledge only went up to triadic. So it is good to know that it goes beyond that. So one of the things that I'm wondering is I know that light comes in different wavelengths, and depending on the wavelength, that's what color it shows up as. But what is it that produces light? Like, I suppose the original source came from the stars, which is just burning gas, but I don't know. Is all light produced from gases? You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. So the light. Let me turn this on. Okay. So light is going to be produced by, again, is that energy. Light waves, just like how sound waves work, and sometimes it's a lot easier to understand it in terms of sound because you see a sound wave. Light actually works the same way. It's a wave of energy, and the ultimate ultimate source of light will be, for us, is our sunlight. That is our standard for light, and what's kind of interesting is that we'll get white light from the sun, but the gases that burn on the sun will give us the orange and the yellows and all of that. And depending on where the sunlight is in the atmosphere, it will change the different. It will give us the different colors in our sunset. But the light itself from the sun is our original source, and it is a wavelength that has all the different colors in it. And that's why you can have heat with light, right? Because that it's that energy. It's an energy source. You just can't see it like you can see, like you can see a pencil or a physical object. You don't,
Right.
right? So it's still, and I guess other than saying that our sunlight is our original source, there's I don't know where else to go with that in terms of where it comes from,
So,
other than and then of course going further back from that and say it's what God has created.
right, and I guess my theory is, and maybe if it makes sense to you too, the sun, as I understand it from astrology classes I took a decade ago, is basically it has a nickel or lead core, and everything else around it is gases that are compressed due to the high level of gravity that there is on the sun. And when it compresses, it causes chain reactions and atomic nuclear explosions that go over and over again. It's just basically a nuclear energy factory that's just burning over and over again, but it's made up of mostly gas that is compressed within that core. So what I'm thinking is, when God said, "Let there be life," the theory in theology is that whatever God says or brings into existence, He breathes into it. So what if the gas from the sun is God's breath? So light, it's like,
Oh,
you know where I'm going with it? So
yeah.
That's good.
gas that's in light is the breath of God.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good.
I love that.
Yeah, no, that's dope. Now, I would also think about how there is also a distinction between God putting breath into the ground to create humans,
Mm-hmm.
and but I like that idea of God speaking, "Let there be light," and because in speaking it there is breath, right? Because you have to breathe in order to speak. But the other play with that is we also want to be careful not to anamorphize God,
Right.
because this is something that this is what I consider one of those things that's beyond full human understanding.
Yeah.
How God speaks the universe into existence, because it doesn't necessarily mean that there were words said, right? It could have been, because God doesn't. God is that original source. So everything is already in God, and so we try to understand it with how we construct things and go from there. But let's take a quick 5-minute. Let's come back at 7. Let's come back real quick. Let's come back at 7:45.
Man, that was getting good.
Yeah. We're gonna get cut off. So let's come back at 7:45 and just pick it right back up.
Okay.
All right.
Mm-hmm.